return home, I had to be physically removed from everything I knew and could control, including my language, in order to enter this space of ancestral communication. That is 100% true. I took a 10-day trip to Brazil and Peru, to Peru and Brazil. And I didn't have any reservations. I didn't know anyone, couldn't speak Spanish or Portuguese. And I was challenged as part of a group that I was in to do that thing that I always wanted to do, but felt I couldn't because of time, money, or health. And for me, it appeared that I couldn't do it because it looked like I didn't have the money. I was working, but that trip cost me $3,000 because I was so scared I didn't have the money that I didn't book until it was 2 weeks before, 2 weeks prior to me leaving. And I remember I was in Peru, and it was the day before I was supposed to go into Brazil. Was it the day before? Yeah, I was supposed to have a yellow fever shot, and you have to have it 10 days before you go into Brazil. But I had waited so long to purchase my ticket that I didn't get the yellow fever shot until 9 days before. So when I tried to board the flight, they said I wasn't eligible to do it and I had to come back the following night. But they couldn't tell me if I had to buy a new ticket or not. Those people couldn't tell me at the counter. So I was so scared. I couldn't call my family. And I literally spent the night in the bathroom in the airport in Peru. And they have somebody coming in there every like 10 or 15 minutes to check how clean the bathroom was. And their security is so tight. And I know they were wondering, what in the world is this person? What is this person doing? Like, who is in here? And it was the most miserable night of my trip because literally, because I couldn't speak the language, there were no signs in English. Anytime I spoke to someone, it was nothing that I could control. So by the time it was morning, I was so exhausted. I didn't want to spend any money because I didn't know if I had to buy a new ticket, even though I didn't have enough money to buy a new ticket and last my whole trip. So I just went and I could tell it was like a kiosk where they have, different trips that you could take. And so I'm just standing there really mindless, and it's in the morning, like about 7:30. And my plane doesn't leave until 11. Was it 11? I think 11 o'clock that night or something, 10 or 11. And I'm standing there, and a man walks up behind me, and he's pointing to, I know it's a trip that's in front of me. I can't talk to him, and he wants to take me on the trip. So I figured he was a taxi driver. And I'm trying to say, I don't have any money. I'm so exhausted. And I'm just trying to tell this man, I don't have any money. I'm not going anywhere. I don't even know any place in Peru other than where I'm at the airport. And then I do this to say, I'm hungry. And he motions for me to follow him, and he takes me to the cafeteria, and I get something to eat. And I just follow him to his car. I follow this man to his car, and we drive like about 20 miles outside of Lima I didn't even know where he was taking me. But wherever he was taking me, when we got there, he told me to follow him into this little building. And when we got into the building, there was a young girl in there And she told me what it was. She told me this was a site of some ancient ruins, and she could give me a tour. I couldn't believe that she could speak English, because the man couldn't speak any English. And the place was big, so she said we had to drive from place to place. It was huge. Listen, she actually took me to the top of a building that stood on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. The building was right up to the ocean. I don't know how that worked. But they had these temples, and these places, they looked like it was brand new, but it was thousands of years old, I guess. And she told me that only high priest and high priestess would come to this location 3 to 4 times a year for high holy ceremonies. And I'm standing on the edge of that ocean, and I'm like, this is like the temples like you see in Egypt, except it didn't have writings on the walls or anything. The cement looked like it was newly paved. Like I went downstairs in one of the buildings, the room was like so clean, and the place was covered in sand, like beach sand. I think it was people from the University of Connecticut that was excavating that site. But what's the likelihood that I spend a night in so much fear and trepidation over money, and literally when I literally couldn't worry about money anymore because I was so exhausted. I follow a man in a strange country, 20 miles out. We just kept driving and driving. It took about an hour for us to get out there. And then he stayed with me all day till we got there about 8. And he stayed with me till about 1 or 2. And then he insisted, he could say tourist. He was insisting I stay on the tourist place. Again, trying to tell him I don't have money. And he only charged me $20 for that entire day, which I couldn't believe that. But he said I should stay in the tourist place because it's safer. That's what he made me understand. Like, no airport, tourist. And no matter what I said, it was like he was there to protect me. And he took my passport. He took $10 from me, and he went inside and he got me a hotel, came back, brought me my passport, and said, okay, we can go inside, and he will help to show me, the hotel person will help show me the room, because they couldn't speak English either. But then he came back and he made sure I knew where to get the bus to go back to the airport, and make sure I understand it will take me right across the street from the airport. I'm saying a whole lot, and we couldn't say a word. All he could say was tourist. But he showed me where I could eat. He showed me the restaurants where I could buy food, and he got me a hotel room. So I spent a whole night in the bathroom, miserable, worried, like, oh my God, I can't reach my family. I don't have money. I don't know if I have to buy a new ticket, nothing to spend a good portion of the day, like from 1 to about 9 o'clock at night, right? In a hotel, in the safe part of town, which I figured would be much more expensive because it was the tourist part. But it wasn't. I literally, that whole trip, there were so many experiences like that. But literally, what was the likelihood? What is the likelihood that I would come all the way from United States of America to Peru, to Lima? I was supposed to already be in Brazil. This never even occurred to me. I had to stay an extra day to be able to take that trip. And I was too scared to get a place to sleep that night. And that's why I was at the kiosk when he walked up. And what would make me trust a driver that I couldn't speak to take me on some tour that I didn't even understand what it was or where it was. Because the first night I came in, I think the driver could speak a little bit of English, but very little, but he was dressed up in a black and white like suit, a black suit with a white shirt, and he drove a Mercedes. So I thought, oh, these guys are good. I asked them to pick me up in the morning and bring me back to the airport, to be able to get my flight the next morning. And he's just nodding yes. I paid him $20, and the place was like across the street where he took me, and he never showed up the next day. So what would make me, just in my tiredness and everything, when I say I had to be physically removed from everything I knew and could control, including my language, in order to enter this space, because I was literally being led by, it was mostly songs from my childhood from church. I was hearing the songs play in my mind, but the thing is, I hadn't been to church in years, so I started to notice it's like too many church songs playing in my mind. What are they saying? I paid attention to the words and realized the words were talking about where I was, where I come from, and like what was coming up next. So that's how I was guided through a 10-day trip. But when I look at the extraordinary experiences, I'm like, there's no way. There is no way there is this many coincidences. This is too much for happenstance. This can't happen for 10 days straight. And the only time it shuts down is when I'm in total and abject fear about, do I have money and how am I going to do this? That's the only time it shut down. And it didn't shut down. It was just my attention was on just going over and over. Oh my God, I don't have enough money. I don't know what is going to happen. That's where my attention was. As soon as I couldn't do that, everything began to fall right back in line. And there's so many stories, but return home. Return home. What is it going to take for us to return to our true identity? You know what I want to, it's late at night and I'm tired, but I actually came not to talk about this, but to say to those of you guardians, because we are guardians of planet Earth, we are guardians of our people, we are keepers of an ancient ancestral wisdom, members of a royal bloodline. That royalty, that information literally flows through our DNA. And there are times when the people that are closest to us, because of who we are and a lack of understanding, they're overshadowed and they're not as strong as we are. And then they begin to turn on us, right? And begin to suspect you of things and things going on in their life. And they begin to act as if you are the reason why these things are happening to them. Their minds are literally being turned against you because internally they're just not strong enough to withstand the overshadowing. Most people don't know, but even the people who understand that this is what happens when it's happening, it's like it's almost like it's too far gone for them to pull themselves back. But what I want to say to you is, do not doubt. Telling you what was told to me by my Nana. Do not doubt what you know. Do not doubt yourself. You stay in alignment and let them do what they do. Now, if they push in boundaries, you push back. You don't accept disorder, right? But those spirits come to create confusion within us to throw us off track. So it's better to not engage them, because you're not even engaged. You're not engaging the person. You're actually engaging the wayward spirit. And that's a waste of energy, because what they want is your energy. They want your attention. Why? Because if your attention is on them, it throws you off your assignment. So I'm saying this to say, you stay on track, you stay on assignment, don't look to the left or to the right. All this stuff will be going on around you. You keep your focus, you maintain. You know who you are. That's what the altar is for. That's what communion with your abosom is for, because it will repel them. You don't engage them, to the best of your ability. If somebody is harassing you or just they're toying with you, because that happens too. You may not even realize, because we don't want to go around always having our guard up with the ones that we love that's closest to us, right? But then oftentimes what happens is that when you least expect it, it's like you take this hit and you're like, whoa, what just happened? And then you realize, oh, they were overshadowed and you didn't pick up on it because you're just thinking you're talking to your loved one. And so by the time you take that hit, you may have a reaction, right? You may have a very strong reaction. It's fine. It's fine. Just, don't get in the back and forth. Don't get in the back and forth with that wayward spirit, because that's what they're looking for. But if you push back, when you push back and you're real clear about what it is you're pushing back on, and you're not doing this little back and forth dance, you set a boundary, that wayward spirit will back up. It will back up. It will leave them to deal with it, to deal with the fallout, of you having a reaction. But don't doubt what you know. Don't doubt yourself. Do not doubt your assignment. You stay clear, you stay clean as you can. That's the altar. If you need to go outside, if you need to go into nature, you need to go have a talk with Mother, Father, God, with your bosom. Do what you need to do to keep yourself strong and sturdy. So, and stay alert. Stay alert, because there's a lot of distractions. It's a lot of distractions, and people and situations and things will be trying to pull at you. You stay the course. You stay the course, because you're moving to the next level, right? So it's like soldier up. Soldier up. You're in initiation. We're at war. So if you're at war, you don't go to sleep. You sleep with one eye open, or you sleep in a protected area, right? You don't just go to sleep like everything is good. No, it requires a different level of you. It requires a different version of you, right? There's a soldier you. So it's like literally soldier up. Know your position, take your position. You don't take abuse. You don't take abuse. No, you have very clear boundaries. So you don't let anybody cross your boundaries. You don't let them cross your boundaries. Be very clear about what you accept and what you don't. We don't accept disorder. So they keep coming, they keep coming, they keep coming. Or, I'll give you an example. Like I was having a conversation and literally seeking to understand the person I was having a conversation with. So much so to the point I took out a pen and paper, because I'm like, I even said to them, you know how these spirits do. They will when you say something, I may hear it differently. So I'm checking to see if what you're saying is what I'm hearing from. Am I hearing the right thing? And vice versa. Right. So they're saying stuff and it's like I repeat it and they're like, no, you're not listening. So I go get a pen and paper and to write down, and I'm literally writing down what they're saying. And then at some point they I can't even remember what exactly was said. But then I realized, like, they're playing games with me. And the fact that I already mentioned, you know how these spirits are. I'm seeking to really understand you. And the minute that I saw that they were toying with me, I lost it. Because I'm like, oh, you no. Mm-mm. And I cursed. I was like, why is it so goddamn difficult to talk to you? At that moment, I realized the whole time we were having that conversation, I was talking to that wayward spirit. That's why. And they're just looking at me like, like sitting in there, sitting real solid in that person. That person's just acting like it, they're just having a conversation and they're all calm and nothing's going on. And I'm the one that doesn't understand. Listen, do not doubt what you know. Do not doubt yourself, okay? Don't doubt yourself. Because when you stand your ground, if that person is really who you think they are, then they will seek to, and they have respect for themselves and have respect for you, and they really see that you're seeking to understand, they will move towards, you know, facilitating the understanding. But if they're not, the wayward spirit will go and they will go. And then you will see what they're made of. You will see who they really are at their core. Is there something there, or are they empty? Are they an empty vessel that anything that passes through takes up residence? You don't have to tolerate that. You don't. Because when especially if you're dealing with somebody and both of y'all understand what that is, and they still and you're there because you understand that because me and this person, I said so many times, when this happens, we both know because we've had countless experiences with this overshadow. So you may not be able to withstand it, but I will see and I can pull you back or vice versa. Right? But went over and over and over, keep being overshadowed and it's like what's going on? Like, who are you? Where are you? Where are you? Because you shouldn't be like this, literally this empty vessel that anything can just take up residence and you can't hear and it has to be your way, or you're not really, and then you want to project and blame other people like, oh, you're not listening. And the truth is, no, that individual is not listening. Because somebody who is not listening does not take out a pen and paper and try to literally write down everything you're saying to see where they're wrong. But that's the games that those demons play. That's the games those wayward spirits play. Don't let them throw you off your game, because they don't stand a chance in your presence. They don't. And so when you're fully present, they spin in circles. So their conversation will always stay the same. When you are fully present, then they leave. Because the power is too strong. They don't want the light to shine on them. That's deception. Right? Deception doesn't want the light of day. As long as they can manipulate you and feed off of you, yeah, that's fine. But telling you, don't engage. Do not engage unless they cross a boundary. You realize that somebody's toying with you. They're really messing with you. Like, that's what happened. And then after that, the individual like bounced. The next day, didn't say anything, just left. But I always say and understand that as you are elevating, as you're moving up, there'll be people that walk with you, and you may get to a place where if they're repelled, it's because they literally can't go to that next level with you. You leave them right there. Don't you go pick them up. That's for your protection and for your safety and for their protection as well. You continue to move. You don't look back, don't look to the left, to the right, because we have to return home. and many will fall to the left and many will fall to the right. But you're in this fight because you have an assignment and you are strong enough. And that's why you were given the assignment. You're strong enough to see it through to the end. You're not weak, you're not feeble. You're dedicated, you're committed, you're equipped. You came equipped to not just for you to return home, but to help lead others home too. Because those things take up residence in places where we literally are out of alignment with divine order. Divine order brings harmony. So even if we move out of alignment, we can come back. You understand? We can come back. It's okay. Like there's always movies, twists and turns, you come back. But when you constantly are dealing with the same thing over and over and over, that somebody is taught, you know, when somebody is not taking responsibility and they're blaming you for things, you know that. And they're adults, so they know exactly what they're doing. They're not children, right? Adults know exactly what they're doing, so we don't need to make excuses for adults. The thing is that as guardians, sometimes we're feared. People may find us suspicious because of their own experiences. They don't trust. They want to know, what is your motive? What is this? And you haven't done anything to show them that you have any kind of ulterior motive, or you try to hurt them or whatever. But when those spirits start to whisper, right, and take their own pain and turn it in on them, and so you say something, they don't hear what you say. They hear it through their own filter. And so no matter what you say, they keep the message keeps getting twisted. So now you have to pay attention to people's actions. What are they doing? And do their words line up with their actions, or are they being disingenuous? Because people can say a lot of things. Oh, I tell the truth, I do this and do that. And you listen to them closely and you be like, no, they're always lying. They're always lying. Broadcasting that they're telling the truth, but you listen to them, they tell the truth when it's convenient to them. When it's convenient. But when it's not, or their back is against the wall, then you find out the truth it's a little bit slippery, right? It's a little bit slippery. So maybe accusing people of, oh, you lying, or you this, or you're not listening, you're not this. Anytime people are always like, you not this, you not this, you not that, it's them. It's them. They're the problem, because no matter where they go, that's the story never changes. So don't take that personally. And when you're walking this path, like we're walking this path, and you understand who you are, those wayward spirits, they comfort you, and the people that are around you, they're weak. They're weak. If they have not taken the time to develop themselves, their emotions, their emotional response, they are in adult bodies, and they are emotionally children. And you cannot be in a proper relationship with an adult that is an emotional child. It's imbalance. It's not going to work, because what do children do? They throw tantrums, right? They like to blame and not take responsibility. So that's why you have to groom them and show them, okay, this is this, and you talk about, I feel this way, not you made me this or you made me that. No, this irresponsible conversation. But we have a lot of people that are adult bodies and child minds, and these are who the wayward spirits operate through. And you will hear the term narcissist, a lot, because, you know, the thing with the narcissist is that they will always say, these people know exactly how to target your weakest points in the time when you least expect it. And nobody is that intelligent. But those spirits, they know that. They know what our weak points are, and they know all the time how to hit us and when to hit us. And so our responsibility is to be present in the moment, be present with our own feelings. Know where we, what are the things that make us feel vulnerable. So when somebody is saying something, you might have just met that person the first time, and they're saying something that makes you feel vulnerable. You want to blame them? They don't even know you. If they've known you for 20 years and this is how you've been and you don't change, and every time that happens, you get irritated at it, okay, that's different. But you go different places and people responding to you this way, then you have to recognize, well, these people don't know me. So if you have the same reaction to them as to the person you know, then it's something is wrong with you. You have to look at you. Otherwise, you're gonna keep having those experiences everywhere you go. Because this world is going to show you yourself. Whether you believe it or not, the world is going to show you yourself, whether you think it's good or you think it's bad. So when we can look at other people and we can see, you know, how they reflect us. And we can also see where they're not reflecting us, because you can see, oh, I used to do this all the time. You know, if I'm in a relationship and things not going how I want, oh, I'm done, I'm out. So I'm always running, but what am I running from and what am I running into? Because the thing is, you're going to keep running into it because you're running into yourself, right? You're running into yourself to return home. So you keep running, you're going to return home. So you know how you grow, you stay there, and you refuse to go anywhere. And then you know when that person, can they ride with you or not? Because if you refuse to move, because you know, now I'm looking to see a reflection of myself. How have I grown? If my pattern is to always run, and these are the situations in which I run, but I refuse to run. Because I know if they can't hang anymore, they will run. So I don't even have to go anywhere. I can just continue to do me, continue to grow, and then see if they go, then there's no thing. Because there's no back and forth or whatever, they're gone. That's it, right? You continue. They say, oh, why you left me or this and that. No, you understand, oh, I went as far as I could. You see, my mentor told me, he said, you don't have to be trying to get rid of anybody. You just grow. You grow. If they can't grow with you, they will go. And then you let them go. Because there's someone else waiting to meet you at that higher level. So you don't go running after them. You just grow. You don't even have to try to get rid of them. They will remove themselves. They will remove themselves. So anything then that was, you know, kind of cramping your style or, you know, an irritant or whatever, again, that would make you run. And now you choose to stay and to not go. Now you can say, oh, okay, I'm grown. And then, you know, life has constant twists and turns and challenges and things like that. But at some point, you grow, and so you're not knocked down by every challenge because you understand that that's just part of life. It has ups and downs and ins and outs. This is just like the river flowing. It's just a natural part of life. When you maybe a teenager or in your 20s, you might have been freaking out. In 30s, you may still get into some type of panic, but not the same way as you were in your 20s. In your 40s, you should be better. If you're still acting the same way as you did in your 20s, something is wrong. Something is wrong. You haven't grown. It's time to grow up. It's time to look at yourself and say, well, you know, how do I feel about this? Do I feel good about this? You know, because how you treat yourself is how other people are going to treat you. So you don't have to take, that's why I say you don't have to, you know, you don't take abuse and people crossing the boundary, but you also don't have to take people messing with you, right? When people start messing with you, then you understand that something's either wrong with them, because sometimes it will be that person, that's just their personality, something's wrong with them, or they're overshadowed by a wayward spirit. Most times it's overshadowed. And sometimes you have to be very discerning to be able to see, because that person will be there 1 second and bam, when you just turn your head and then something else took up residence and you didn't even realize you were talking, as if you're still talking to your loved one and they no longer are in control of the conversation. They're not talking to you. Their body is being used to talk to you. But the person talking to you is actually the wayward spirit. So you don't always have to be, paranoid looking for the wayward spirit or whatever. But, during this time, I would say definitely be more alert, just because of the energy that we're in. And people are not that strong because they just go through life mindlessly and think, oh, they want things this way and this is how things should be and this is what they're going to, as if they control life. They don't. You can control things to a point, but if your life takes a different turn, you want to blame someone else for your life taking that turn. Well, when that someone else is not there and your life is still taking that turn, you're gonna come face to face with you. Life does that. That's just the nature of reality. Now you can continue from now until you enter your grave, blaming everybody around you and feeling like this didn't have anything to do with you. That's fine. It's called self-deception. You come